So what's up, everybody? Good morning and welcome back to Nostalgia Power. Zod, how are you doing this weekend, man?
Well, I'm doing good, man. Just continuing to work on editing my movie, One Punch Dan. It's taking up a lot of my time, and it's
Busy.
wonderful.
Yeah. Is that where you're at? Are you in like the editing stage of this?
Yeah.
Is it all
I'm just
finished, just editing, or how?
I'm just editing it all together now.
Which I'm sure is probably going to be a long.
I don't know. I'm doing pretty well. I'm making good time. As of right now, I have nearly 30 minutes of the movie cut together.
Oh.
So I'm
a third of the way through. Right?
I'm actually progressing rather quickly. Yesterday, I kind of took a night away from it because I'd been doing so much. What's up, Serge? And then this morning, I got right back into working on it, and I've got another. It's coming along so well. Like just putting the scenes together. It's like a big jigsaw puzzle, and it's just trying to just like get everything together and make it coherent so that you can have a nice viewing experience. But at this point, it's coming along good. I'm very, very excited, and I can't wait for everybody to see it.
Oh yeah, and I know like just editing short videos could be almost an overwhelming task sometimes because it seems like there's just so much. And if you're doing it like that, where you have bits and pieces, like you said, a jigsaw puzzle, trying to fit it all together and put it all together, I mean, it's just time consuming. Even for me, like a short 8-minute video could take hours to put together, so I couldn't imagine something with a 90-minute runtime.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna definitely go between 70 and 90 minutes. I think it'll be I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what the runtime will be. It's all just gonna depend on the edit itself, but again, it's not gonna be any longer than 90 minutes, that's for sure, with credits. 90 minutes is the max it could be. 90 minutes may not be what it ends up being, but 90 minutes is the max that it could be. Crypto is not in it, saying spirits, but I do have a little dog that's kind of an homage to Crypto. There is a scene with a little puppy in it that's kind of, winking at Crypto, but it's pretty, it's pretty cute. It's in there, but no, Crypto is not actually in the movie. No.
And, yes, Galaga Guy, I woke up and keep the coffee flowing, or in my case, Monsters. Was up. I'm gonna power through this.
Monster
with Galaga Guy last night. I think I got to bed at like 2 a.m., which is way too late to have to be up to do something like this, and. I had a few beverages with him, and I was feeling pretty good when I went to bed. So, but Galaga Guy, he had a great stream last night. I had a ton of fun. He was talking about the Ninja Turtles. He did a community poll, was ranking all the Ninja Turtle movies, and Zod, you may be shocked to find out that the majority chose the original TMNT movie as the greatest one.
Oh my God, that just goes without. Did you see that Arrow Video is releasing all 3 of the originals on 4K Blu-ray, and it's like this huge looking box set with all kinds of bells and whistles. It looks amazing.
I did not, and that would be something that I would definitely be looking to pick up. And actually, today after the stream, so I got to watch the time. We can't let this thing run over too much. I am going to see it in theaters today with my.
Oh my God! Really?
Yep,
That's
My
awesome.
brother bought tickets. Me and him are going to see it. The guy who I went to go see it with all those years ago, my grandfather took us. And he's unfortunately no longer with us. But so me and my brother are going. We have I think I was wrong. I think 1 o'clock is 1 o'clock Eastern time is when. He got the tickets. That's when the show is. So I'm going today to see TMNT, the original TMNT, in theaters again, 35 years later. So I'm excited about that.
That is so awesome. Yeah. I'm excited for you. That's going to be wonderful.
And I don't see too many movies in theaters.
Obviously not. Yeah,
This is a big deal. If I'm going to see this is obviously I hold this in very high regard. No, hopefully they do put Secret of the Ooze out next year, I guess, because I think that would be its 35th anniversary. The third one, I don't know if I would go see that in theaters, but maybe I would just for nostalgia's sake. But yeah, that's what I got going on after the stream today.
That's gonna be great.
Ninja Turtles. And it's funny that Saiyan brought up Superman. It seems like it always circles back around to Superman, but I wanted to get your opinion and everybody else's on this. Did you happen to see this at all? In Cleveland, they built a Superman statue. Now, I was kind of a little curious as to why they did this, and I'm thinking that possibly the creators.
Well, because Simon and Schuster, they're from Cleveland. Yeah, they're from Cleveland. But Metropolis, Illinois is where all the Superman...
That's what I thought, and it kind of like, I had to read further. I'm like, oh, okay, they're from Cleveland. So, like, what's your opinion on, like, fictional characters being immortalized in a statue? Like Philadelphia has Rocky, Is that... I always thought it was kind of strange that... I mean, yeah, Superman statue is awesome, but...
I mean, given the iconic status of the character of Superman and the importance to pop culture, it's not I don't really think it's a problem. And I can kind of understand why they did it with Rocky too in Philadelphia. But I mean, if statues start popping up all over the world, that's dedicated to different characters. I mean, if you go to Japan and you go into the center of Tokyo and there's a giant, like Godzilla, like a Godzilla statue the size of like 2 cities. I mean, I guess that's a little bit much, but I don't know. I guess it depends. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll give you that. That's good. If you keep it classy, don't go crazy with it. But they said that this thing is 18 feet tall, so it's it's not humongous, but it's big enough. I'm just curious what they spent on it. Hopefully they didn't spend like $1 million on something like this, but it will. Yeah. So if anybody's going to the Cleveland Gaming Classic in the fall, go get your picture taken with Superman. Which honestly, if I'm close to it, I might actually get my picture taken with it. A giant Godzilla in the middle of Tokyo would be amazing. You think they would freak out?
They would do it crazy, and then imagine if they like screwed it up somehow and put it in Shinjuku instead of Tokyo, and people would be like, "Well, it's in the wrong place." Well, we couldn't get it there; it was too big. It would have crushed like 2 cities. I don't know. It would be fun. It would be neat to see, I think.
Yeah, I just figured I would see what everybody thought of that, because it is cool, but yeah, as long as they don't overdo it, I guess that's a good way of looking at it. Oh no, you want to buy tickets for TMNT and it was sold out. That's not cool. I don't know how long it's going to be in theaters. I don't know if it's if this is a 1 weekend thing, but I actually had forgotten about that. I told my brother that I would go see it, and he texted me yesterday. He's like, "We still going?" And I'm like, "Oh crap, I totally forgot." I said, "Yes, we are definitely still going." So here's something else. This is kind of crazy. Did you see this? That AOL was finally shutting down its dial-up internet service. And maybe I'm in the minority here, but I had no idea that AOL dial-up internet was still a thing. I thought that was gone, 25 plus years ago, 28 years ago. Did you ever use AOL when you were growing up?
Back in the day, yeah. I mean, everybody had it, and it was funny because you couldn't. Because I remember it because you couldn't remember how you couldn't be on the phone. You'd have to tie up your. Yeah, your parents would hate it because you'd have to tie up your phone.
Yep.
The phone to use it, so no phone calls or anything could come through. Anytime you get a phone call, it would knock you offline.
That was very an inconvenient system, I guess. They'd pick up the phone and you'd hear that god awful dial-up sound, and it would screw your internet up. But that's the thing, if you were online, you couldn't get phone calls, and that was long before the days of everybody had a cell phone.
Everybody has a phone now that's more powerful than any computer they could have had back then. So it's insane.
Oh yeah.
DSL became the way that they kind of fixed that, where they would have a separate thing where it wouldn't interfere with your phone line.
Yeah, that's it. Being in the middle of something, meant somebody would pick up the phone. And said ASL. Do you remember what ASL stood for? That was
age, sex, location.
That's it, man. You'd get into those. Oh God, we're not going to go there. Yes, DSL does mean something else. We're not going to go there. But ASL, you get into the chat rooms and the instant.
The chats, and you're meeting people.
Oh, yeah. That was.
That's when it was. That's when it was taboo to meet chicks off the internet. Ew, you're meeting somebody. They treated. I remember they used to treat meeting up off the internet the way they treat you. Have you noticed the parallels between the way they used to treat meeting somebody off the internet? That's the same way they treat AI, the exact same way. Ew, AI. Ew, you met somebody off the internet. Ew, like they make it you ever notice that how anything new that comes out is always like so taboo and frowned upon. It's insane to me when you think about it. But this happens every single time with everything, every technological advancement.
I remember my parents not wanting me to talk to people because they just automatically assumed that I was, I thought I was talking to some girl that was my age, but that, meanwhile it's Tom, the love doll guy, who's pretending he's a.
Tom had an awful lot of. Tom had an awful lot of fun on AOL back in the day because on AOL back in the day it was new, so 9 times out of 10 you were actually talking to some cute girl online who was logged in most of the time.
Yep.
Like I'm sure there was a little bit of that catfishing going on back then, but I think it was a lot more minimal, because I know that when I was talking to women back then, they were real, they were legitimate. It wasn't like you were talking, because the internet was something new and exciting, and it was a new way to connect with people. Now it's just a cesspool of bots and artificial intelligence.
Oh God, but that was a cool way to talk to your friends, because you could have the like I said, the instant messenger that always showed when your friends popped on and when they got off. So before cell phones and me able to text people all the time and any sort of social media, you kind of had that. It was like, okay, I call my buddy, I can't get a hold of him, go get on the instant messenger. Oh look, there he is. And then you could have a text-based communication with them. And I remember being kind of blown away by it. And I would just sit there all the time chatting with people. And then it always gave me confidence to talk to girls that I maybe wouldn't have otherwise talked to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That's what I'm worried about. Like my old school prehistoric internet, I might be in trouble. Yep, Tom. There we go. Tom had fun until Chris Hansen showed up. But AOL, that used to get those discs in the mail all the time.
And I remember people used to collect those. People used to collect those and make like towers out of them because you get them constantly. Like every other week, they were mailing out some new disc.
There's a big air noise coming from somebody. I don't know. Do you hear it, Zod?
It could be my air conditioner. I don't know.
Oh.
It's hot, man. Unfortunately, I can't turn my air conditioner off. It's really hot here. So.
Oh no, it's been it's been in like the 90s here for the last couple of days.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I can't. I'll start sweating. I'll have to leave the stream. I'll be sweating too much, bro.
Beads running down your face. We had a birthday the other day. A fairly notable one. A birthday that it revolves around a show that has been in the headlines a lot lately. And South Park, it just turned to 28. I think it was August 13th. So when was that? 2 days ago. So I didn't realize that South Park is almost 30 years old. So I was starting to think. I was like, okay, where was I at 28 years ago on August 13th, 1997? So I was getting ready to start 8th grade. And I remember when this show came out, man, that's all we talked about. And who would have thought 28 years later they would be just as big, if not bigger. And I don't know, South Park kind of, I don't want to say they changed, but they weren't like a must-watch for me as they were. But all of a sudden, like this new season has gotten a lot of people in an uproar, and this episode in particular, and I think they're obviously not. I know that they're doing this on purpose, and they just show you that they have no fear. They still have no fear. They'll attack anybody. Doesn't matter. And these new episodes on Paramount have been, regardless of your political views or whatever, they have been freaking hilarious. So have you seen any of the new South Parks?
I have not. No.
And like I said, they obviously these guys aren't holding back when it comes to anybody.
Well, they never have. That's why. That's what's been the allure. They don't bow down to any kind of pressure. They just do what they want.
Yep. Yeah, you watching Toy Story? I mean, I shouldn't have been watching South Park probably as an 8th grader, but we did, and because at the time, I don't think parents didn't catch on for a while. They're like, oh, it's just that little cartoon show, those little kids, until you hear them swearing and kicking the baby. Yeah, they're equal opportunity hating across all topics, so you can't really get offended by them, and if you do,
well, that's what the whole point is. The whole point is to show that it's not worth getting offended because they're going to be an equal opportunity offender.
Yes. And if you get offended by what they're saying about you,
it says more about you.
Yeah,
you're playing right into
their
them.
Hands.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they want. And, like these people that they're targeting now are getting very upset about it and, saying things like South Park's irrelevant and all this and that. Meanwhile, they just signed I think it was a $1.5 billion with a B dollar deal with Paramount. And they're probably now, because of all the backlash they're probably getting more viewers than they ever got.
Yeah, it's more money, it's more notoriety. You don't realize if you hate something, the worst thing you can do is continue to draw attention to it, because that makes it more relevant. So when you get all these people in the political sphere that are taking things personally and drawing more attention to it, all you're doing is helping South Park. You're not hurting South Park by talking all this crap. I mean you're going to...
That's why the creators, they're smart people.
Right.
They were going to win this no matter what. If they didn't say anything, they're still getting their money. And if they did get these people clapping back at them, they're getting far more exposure and notoriety, and people are now going to start watching South Park that maybe never watched it before.
Exactly.
So they're brilliant. Those guys are brilliant.
I didn't watch the new. Yeah, I didn't start watching the new season, but I did watch the new season of King of the Hill. That's on Disney Plus now. There's a new season. So yeah.
I haven't got the chance to see it. If you shot Cricket, you're fair game. Was that the name of her dog? I'm behind on that, and if the joke went over my head, I'm sorry, but is that am I low? Am I still low?
No, you're okay. I can hear
Am
you
I?
fine.
It could be just because I keep leaning back. Sorry, MG, you missed it. I was up till 2 a.m. Gallagher guy had me up all night. He kept pouring me drinks.
Uh-oh. Well, and Gallagher guy can make some good drinks. So you got
he's having a few himself. So what's the consensus on King of the Hill, the new King of the Hill? Since I haven't seen it yet.
It's pretty good. It was pretty decent. I actually liked it. I didn't have a problem. I thought it fit in really good. I didn't really have a problem with it. I liked it.
So is it okay? So it is like X-Men '97 was to the original X-Men. You would say King of the Hill.
I mean,
is a good continuation.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it just kind of picks up and allows you to continue on in that world. It doesn't really. Yeah. It's not. I didn't think it was bad. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. So, yeah. I won't say that it was as good as X-Men '97 because to me X-Men '97 is kind of in a class by itself, but it was definitely good if you're a fan of King of the Hill, or if you even had a passing interest in it. If you liked it at all, you'd probably. I
think I said it before a few weeks ago. That was one of those shows that I never really gave it much of a look or a watch whenever it was going on. I was more interested in like the Family Guy and South Park and things like that. I'm like, this isn't lowbrow enough for me. But the older I got, the more I actually appreciated King of the Hill and Mike Judge's sense of humor. Because he had the lowbrow Beavis and Butthead going on, but this was a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have not watched the new ones yet. Yeah, King of the Hill, right? It's a different style of comedy, but it's still. I think it holds up pretty well. So yeah, that's one series I am definitely going to check out. And, speaking of birthdays, there's another birthday that we got to talk about. One of my favorite movies of all time, the Transformers '86 movie. 39 years old, I think maybe 2 weeks ago or a week ago. It was right after our last stream. So I'm going to, I think we may have talked about this briefly, but you've obviously seen Transformers '86, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which is what it's kind of referred to these days as Transformers '86. And honestly, to me, this is probably Untouchable is the greatest Transformer movie they've ever made. I don't think they've come close with anything.
No,
it's right. You got the touch.
Yeah.
The soundtrack.
You got
so
the
good.
touch. Yeah.
Yeah. This. Oh my God, dude! I wore out multiple VHS tapes of this when I was a kid. And they, boy, this upset some people too, though, with the Optimus Prime and all how violent and brutal this movie was. Going from the cartoon show, which didn't really show death. I mean, they fought and they shot at each other, but this, I mean, man, they wiped out. They just took that first toy line and they just killed everyone. Very few survived. And Optimus, I remember being just upset, not crying, take me out of the theaters, upset with Optimus Prime dying, but it was a shock. It was definitely a shock to see how they handled it. And they got a lot of backlash for it.
It really was dope, though. It really was dope, and they weren't afraid. They weren't afraid to go places with that movie.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely, and I think that's why it holds up. It holds up to this day because it was so monumental, and they took so many risks with it, and they just didn't care. And obviously they didn't care because the toy line needed to be rebooted.
Right.
So they were just like wipe them out.
Yep. How do we introduce a new line of toys? Okay, let's bring all our old ones in, kill them all, and then and then introduce a bunch of new ones.
It was actually quite genius if you think about it, because you really, when you deep down, it's like,
my interest, I'm like, oh, now I want this Hot Rod figure and Ultra Magnus. Who's this new truck? You know, like a Galvatron. Oh man, yeah, they absolutely need to re-release this in theaters next year.
Yeah, business is business. Exactly. I would love it. I would definitely want to see it in theaters again if I could. You know, I definitely am super excited for that opportunity.
Yep. Saying I was anti-Rodimus Prime for so long growing up because I loved Optimus Prime, and I'm like, this guy is the reason that Optimus
this guy's
Prime
just a clod. Yeah.
He's the reason Optimus is dead. I don't like Rodimus. But I've grown to accept him, and actually I have a very, very sweet Hot Rod figurine from, like, they started releasing the toy line from this movie, you know, the Transformers '86. And if I wasn't up till 2 a.m., I probably would. I would have it here to show. But yeah, it's Hot Rod, and it's actually very, very cool. That's very true. It affected what happened in G.I. Joe, and yeah, basically killed the My Little Pony movie, because they were going to do the same thing in the G.I. Joe movie. And killing a human being is probably a lot more traumatic for a child than even killing a robot off. But they
right. Well, that's why they were able to get away with making it so violent and brutal, because they were just robots.
Right.
If they were human characters, you couldn't have. They couldn't have done that.
But my God, can you imagine if they would have put out G.I. Joe first and did that and just started just mowing down all your favorite characters? It might have just destroyed Hasbro. That's how he got COVID. Ah, he wears that face mask, right? That would protect him from everything. No, this was always on. This was right there with Star Wars. Is always one of the rotation of VHS tapes that constantly got fed into my VCR as a kid.
Oh yeah.
And I still own this in VHS. I still have I don't still have my original because it's long gone, but I own it in 3 different formats: VHS, Blu-ray, and the DVD. And when the next one comes out, I'll buy that one too, because it is really that good. And you know, I don't think any other Transformer movie, to me, it just hasn't come close to it. You know, the Michael Bay movies were okay. The first one was all right. The other, they started getting kind of crazy after that, but I was kind of disappointed. But that's maybe because I held this in such high regards. I mean, the animation on it was so good that they had. I mean, you know, look at the cast of the movie. You know, you had Orson Welles, Leonard Nimoy. Who else was in it? There was a bunch of other. Who the heck was the voice of Hot Rod? Was it Judd Nelson? But they had a pretty high, pretty impressive cast of voices in the movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Eric Idle was in it. That's right. He was. How could I forget him? He was the junk bot. Retgar. That's the guy's name. Yeah, I wish I did not get to see it in theater, but I don't know if we saw it on TV, because I remember we had it. We must have saw it on TV because we had it recorded off of TV on a VHS tape. Remember, you used to be able to do that. Just record whatever you want off of TV. And then I got it for my birthday in the actual VHS tape, and it watched it till the tape wore out. But that, yeah, that's always going to be the best Transformers movie to me. I don't know. I think it's going to be hard to top that one. Yeah, here's the the Transformers. This is what I was talking about. If you haven't seen them before. Oh, great! Now I'm going to want to go buy all these. Galvatron, Ironhide. Yeah, here's one of the newer characters introduced in the movie, Springer the Triple Changer. Oh, there it is. There's the one I got right there. Yeah, I was anti-Hot Rod, anti-Rodimus, but okay, yeah, I'll admit it. He's pretty cool. So we'll hit one more thing before we hit commercial. Because I just learned this was a thing not too long ago, about not even a week ago. I saw Ryan Gosling and I saw Star Wars and I was like, wait a minute, what is going on here? Do you know what I'm talking about here? Have you seen anything about this here? The new Star Wars Starfighter movie that's supposed to be coming out.
I did not know that it was starting production, but
they're starting production.
I know that they did make. I did know that they made the announcement that for the 50th anniversary of Star Wars, they're putting it back in theaters, but they're not saying what version of Star Wars they're putting in theaters.
Come on, can we please have the original version? No McClunky, no special edition.
And the rumor is that they're making a different version for the 50th anniversary. They're doing something else for the 50th anniversary, which I kind of could understand them doing, because it's like tradition. Every time they put out they have something to celebrate, they put out a new altered version of Star Wars.
Man, I would just love to go to the theaters and see the original theatrical version, or make it available to buy. You know, like, what are they? They're sitting on a gold mine. You know how many people would buy the the original theatrical version
with no problem, with no hesitancy? It's a license to print money. It would secure Disney for the next decade. That's how much money they would make for it. It would be insane.
Now, I don't know how I feel about this new movie. So apparently this new movie is set 5 years after the events of The Rise of Skywalker. So this isn't set during the events of the Galactic Civil War. This is post-Disney sequel trilogy. And I don't really know any details. I don't think there's any details on it yet, other than Ryan Gosling is he's going to star in it, and it's Starfighter, so I'm assuming he's going to be an X-Wing pilot or something like that. But this is their new movie. I don't know. I mean, do you trust Disney at this point when it comes to making a movie about Star Wars?
I mean, I don't really care what they do at this point. I'm not worried about it. It won't bother me either way. So
would it be something that you would be interested in seeing? I mean, would you see it just because
I don't think it, well, it's not something it's definitely not something I'm going to be rushing out to watch, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'll probably see it because, like I said, it's Star Wars. If for no other reason, and if I leave the theater mad or annoyed or upset again, like, hopefully they just do it justice. I mean, they've shown that they could do certain things right. I mean, they've done Mandalorian. There were some parts of Obi-Wan. I like the Darth Vader parts. Like, they've shown that they're not afraid to go on a little bit of a darker route. Andor, was extremely good. So maybe there's a chance. That's also possible. It could die in production hell, like a lot of other good movies. But you would think if they're promoting it and bringing Ryan Gosling, somebody who's like a pretty high-profile actor, into it and saying it already, that this one probably is going to see the light of day. But I thought, years ago when they said Solo basically killed any hopes of movies from this point forward because of how underwhelming it was. The Palpatine, please don't say things like that.
Somehow Palpatine has returned.
Yeah, so, I know. Well, way to address that, guys. That's all you gotta say. Just have your lame new character come on screen and just announce somehow Palpatine has returned. I wanted to leave the theaters when that happened.
Right, that was so bad. It wasn't even done in a in a tasteful way, like in the Dark Empire comics, where it actually made sense.
Yeah, it's just very generic and bland. Somehow he's back. We don't know how. We're not asking questions, but he's been off in the galaxy building this mega fleet of Star Destroyers under our noses this whole time. We had no idea. We had no way of knowing. Let's continue. Yeah. Ken becomes a starfighter. Ken goes off and joins the Galactic Republic. That could be part of it, Hockey Town. That maybe people were just so grossed out because of Episode 8 that they weren't willing to give Solo a chance. I mean, I thought it had some decent moments. It wasn't as bad as Episodes 8 and 9. I'll say that. It just was that the guy. I don't know. It's hard to be Han Solo when you're not Harrison Ford.
Well, and especially when they have an actor out there that looks very much like a young Harrison Ford and actually played a young Harrison Ford in a movie opposite Harrison Ford, and they didn't use him. They got some other kid that doesn't look like Harrison Ford. No. That's the problem.
Yep. I mean, he had the mannerisms and the character down pretty well, I thought. But he just didn't look like him. He didn't sound like him. Even with all the AI and deepfake technology that they have now, get Harrison Ford's blessing and just do it. Yeah, if you strike me down, I win, and then Rey kills. Yeah, in the most lamest way possible. So Darth Sidious has now taken himself out with Force lightning, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Episode 3. Mace Windu is deflecting it back into his face. He grotesquely deforms himself. Episode 6. Darth Vader picks him up and he's just frying himself and everybody with lightning at the same time. Episode 9. Rey deflects it back into his face. Apparently once you start Force lightning, it's not that easy to shut off, huh? Because supposedly one of the most powerful Siths of all time took himself out 3 times with it. We bashed that movie in great lengths before, so I just wanted to bring this up, this new Star Wars movie, because I don't know, man. I'm having a hard time giving Disney any credit.
Yeah. I think they should. I think they should sit making movies out for a while. I don't really think it's necessary at this point.
Well, I mean, could this one make or break them? When it comes,
I don't know. I think they're broken, so they're just going back to the well at this point. I don't think it's a make or break scenario. Well, I think it's just
they are supposedly making the Mandalorian movie, but I haven't heard anything about that. They got to get Pedro Pascal back out on the screen. Honestly, if the Rise of Scott, it should have been. I think it would have been better had it been about more so Kylo Ren. But they just kind of killed him, Okay. Rey's dying. Kylo gives her some life back to bring her back to life. Kylo's dying. Rey does not do the same. But and don't tell me she didn't know how to do it. She knew how to do everything else without any sort of training.
Yeah, it was pretty hokey, honestly.
It very much was. The Pedro fatigue is real. Is there Pedro fatigue? See, I don't really have him. I don't mind him because I haven't watched anything else he's been in other than The Mandalorian. So, how about we hit a quick commercial break. We'll come back. We got to start talking about some of these 90s toys because there's some crazy ones on there. I want to see if you've seen them or if you own them or if anybody else in the chat in the live chat or on replay has any nostalgia or any memories for some of these action figures, or maybe they're not even action figures, they're just toys from the 90s. So everybody hang tight and we will be right back.
And now these messages.
Splinter the Rat.
taught them each the ninja arts. Donatello, master of the staff. Leonardo, the katana blade.
My God!
Raphael, the
Don't
sunny.
throw this at home, kids!
And Michelangelo, the nunchakus.
Radical!
And master of the willing pizza.
Hey, who had the pepperoni and ice cream?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
From Playmates.
What's the matter, Bobby?
Sometimes a regular squirt gun just won't do. Introducing the Super Soaker 50.
I'm back.
Just pump up our powerful air pressure system, and you can soak someone up to 50 feet away.
Sorry, sis.
The Super Soaker 50 from Laramie.
You'll be wet.
Also available, the Super Soaker 100 and the Super Soaker 30.
The evil Dr. Paranoid changed 4 innocent brothers into 3 sharks. Join Ripster, Blaze, Jab, and Big Flamu. 4 heroes fighting to stop the evil Dr. Paranoid from taking over the world. They fight, they bite, they kick some serious sin. Now blast into action with the new Shark Cruiser with monster-biting power and fan-action traction.
Dirty Piranha.
Street Sharks figures and Shark Cruiser vehicle, each sold separately. Shark Cruiser, the ultimate biting machine. New from Mattel.
Awesome.
The incredible crash dummies are going plain crazy. They're flying. They're crashing.
We're even testing dummy parachutes.
Mine worked perfect.
Me too.
Nice of you to drop in!
It's Junkman.
Sorry you can't stay!
With dummies flying everywhere, Junkman goes for the knockout punch. But as usual, our heroes land on top. The incredible crash dummies. Crash plane, crash cannon, and figures sold separately.
Don't you be a dummy! Buckle your safety belt!
Now back to our show.
Help.
How about the Street Sharks? You remember them?
Yeah.
They were in the long line of TMNT wannabes, I think. There was a lot of those mid-90 toys, and I don't even remember. They may have had it like
Tiger Sharks and
TV
yeah.
series. Yeah, there was like the biker mice from Mars. You remember them? They were
Yeah.
another one that lasted about 5 seconds. Yeah, everybody was trying to jump on the wake of the TMNT mania.
And I've never understood that because that never works. So I don't understand why they do that. I mean, I guess it's just a short-term way to generate some cash.
I guess, yeah. You might get some people that would be interested. I mean, the Power Rangers did it, you know, and then you had 8,000 different Power Ranger knockoffs.
Well, Voltron too. Voltron was in the '80s, was super huge, and they just went epically batshit crazy with Voltron Voltron knockoffs.
And
the robots and the combining the robots to make a bigger robot. And it just.
So I mean, Power Rangers. I remember the first time I saw that, seeing the Megazord. I'm like, that thing looks awfully familiar. Like, it was even colored almost the same as Voltron.
Yeah. It was like live action Voltron, just done in some elementally different ways.
Yeah, and I was sucked into the Power Rangers mania, and I always thought, I'm like, man, this is kind of a weird show. And then you found out, years later, that it was an ongoing Japanese show that they kind of borrowed clips from and pieced it together with these American teenagers. Yeah, Battletoads was another. That's a very well-known TMNT wannabe, to the point of where that had its own TV series, or at least a pilot. I don't know if it got its series, but it had a pilot episode. It had video games and everything. Yeah, those Street Shark figures, we had some of them as kids, and they were actually pretty cool. I think they started, like everything else, they brought those things back a few years ago. They brought the old action figure line back. Yeah, Super Sentai, would that be like a Voltron knockoff thing?
Well, Super Sentai is what Power Rangers is based off of.
Oh, that's okay. That's right. I couldn't remember the name of it. Yeah, but that's what it is. Starfleet, they formed a giant robot. I mean, then you had, speaking of Transformers, you had all the combiners there. saved you 20 years of therapy and tens of thousands of, if not more, of dollars. Oh yeah, the pink Power Ranger. Oh yeah, that was. I may have had a poster of her on my wall growing up. So let's get into, and we may see some of these action figures and stuff that we just saw on the commercial. You may see them on this list of the top 25 best-selling toys of the 1990s. So yeah, if you're a younger generation, like Zod, you're not 40 yet, right?
I am 39.
There you go. So that you probably grew up. You know, I was born in the 80s. You know, the early 80s, but so I don't really consider myself. I mean, I'm an 80s kid, but I'm also a 90s kid because I was still in the peak audience of and the target of most of these toys. So, did you have a Stretch Armstrong doll growing up?
No.
Or did you know anybody that had one? So, yeah, this was released back in the 70s. We had one of these things, and I'll tell you what, man, this thing, you'd be amazed how far this thing could stretch out. Whatever the rubber that this was made out of must have been extremely durable. Because as much as we stretched ours out, it never broke open, and I never got to see what goo or whatever it was that was inside of it. Very cultured for being so young. We'll check that link out in a minute because I have no idea what the Starfleet toys were. Yeah, she has aged very gracefully. There's no doubt about that. Okay, so this was something I was real big into. When they redid the Star Wars line in 1997. It was for like the 30th anniversary, and then the whole like Shadows of the Empire thing, which I've been collecting these things for probably the past couple years, trying to get pretty much the whole series in package. I can't remember what the heck they were called. I'm sure it says it right here. It was like the Action Fleet or something like that. But it was in the same scale of the original action figures from the 80s. But the detail on them was so much better. Like, Boba Fett here looked 1,000 times better than the original Boba Fett, the one that was banned because kids were choking on the missile, which is one of the most highly sought after toys. Although some of the characters like Luke and Leia, I don't think they looked like Luke looked like he was on steroids. Leia kind of looked like a man. I don't know why over here they're zooming on Boba Fett's crotch for some unknown reason. I just saw that, so we're just gonna scroll.
He's got a nice package.
I mean, yeah, somebody is zooming in on it for a reason. That's it. I knew somebody would. The power of the Force, yeah.
There you go. Movies for guys who like movies. Remember that?
Yeah. My Little Ponies. I obviously never got into these, but my sister had them, so there was a ton of these My Little Ponies, which is another toy line. I think they brought that back. I never had one of these either, the Skip-Its, but I knew people that did. Oh, look, by Tiger Electronics. Yeah, this thing was kind of goofy. Do you remember this thing? It was like, I don't know, like a futuristic hula hoop almost in a way. You put it around your one ankle and you kind of like flung it around and jumped over it. And if you weren't careful, it would tangle your legs together and you'd fall on your face.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That thing was kind of silly.
Yeah.
But here you go, man. Speaking of Transformers again, they, I mean, obviously started in the 80s, but there was, during the 90s, there was a surge in popularity. They started bringing them all back. Like, I had the Generation 2 Optimus Prime, which is exactly the same as the original, except he had a black trailer instead. Yeah, and then you started getting these little like Series 7 figurines and stuff like that. But again, and anymore, like everything else, you can buy all these original versions of the Transformers. They started bringing all these back. I just don't have enough room and shelf space for all this stuff, you know. And that's the thing, I buy all this stuff and then I don't have anything to do with it. I have nowhere to put it. I can't display everything. I don't know if the Skip It is the same thing. But yeah, one of the most iconic toy lines of all time, in my opinion. There you go. The Ninja Turtles. Like, were you big? Did you collect any of these action figures as a kid? Were you big on action figures?
I didn't have a lot of the like Ninja Turtles action figures, but I did have. You know, I had the Voltron stuff. I had hell, I even had Robotech action figures. I had, you know, but I was a big fan of the Ninja Turtles. I just wasn't really a fan of the toys so much.
Didn't get into the toys that much. I mean, I was such a hardcore fan of the cartoon show that the toys were always on my list of what do you want for your birthday or what do you want for Christmas? Turtles. And it's funny.
That's a huge turtle.
Yeah. That's what would happen to their arms. For some reason, they would always break off at the elbow. If you were, because that was one of their very few points of articulation, and probably because you're smashing these things together to simulate battles, and the arms would always snap off right there. But oh yeah, I mean, I had tons. Even me and my brother, we had hundreds of these things, and I still have a lot of my originals to this day. And we had the vehicles and the play sets and all that stuff. I mean, that is that's 90s toy line. Yeah, that is a huge turtle. I never had any of the giant ones, but I did buy these again. I keep repeating myself. I sound like a broken record, but they brought all of them back, and I had to buy one of the giant ones. So these here, I never really got into these or understood them. The whole little micro. You know what the Polly Pocket or the boy version was? The Mighty Max.
Yeah, I never really got into those.
Yeah, I didn't either. They're just a little, because then you would just lose all the pieces, or you'd hear your mom running the sweeper, and the next thing you know, you heard that distinct sound of something getting sucked up in it, and you knew you were never going to see it again. Then there's, of course, the Super Nintendo. I mean, how iconic is the Super Nintendo? And I guess the Sega Genesis, you could probably lump that together with this as the two the consoles of the 90s that took that next step. Because then you started actually seeing some arcade games that you can play it at home that had very good ports, you know, like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, NBA Jam, like games like that played really, really well on the Super Nintendo. And I was definitely a Super Nintendo fan over the Genesis, and I'll die on that hill. Here's a 90s fad that was kind of ridiculous. Did you collect Pogs? Did anybody out there collect Pogs?
Not really. I know a guy who is amassing a huge Pogs collection now.
So he's going back and buying all.
He's literally spent a couple grand so far building a Pog collection. Yeah. I told him you're a madman, but
they're the cheapest things. I would love to know where the concept of these came from. If it was like, hey, we have all this extra cardboard lying around, what could we do with it? Yeah, the Polly Pockets and the Mighty Max were kind of silly, but yeah, the Micro Machines, yes, I love the Micro Machines. I'd be surprised if those weren't on this list. I mean, maybe that might have been more 80s. He had a cousin who was 2 months older that had all the cool toys. Yeah, we always had a friend that was able to get everything. Oh, I would love to have a game room set up like that for all my consoles, because I have it setup behind me, I do have the CRT, the NES TV, and I have all my systems down there which can hook up to it. But how cool would it be to be able to have a separate setup for each one of your consoles? I just don't have the space for that. But in a perfect world, yeah, that was the point of Pogs. It was like you stacked them up, right, like this, and you threw the big chip they called the slammer. Some of them were metal, some of them were like heavy plastic. And I can't remember the way it was. Wasn't it like you hit them and if they flipped over, you could win them? And I don't know. I got into them because everybody was doing it, so naturally I wanted to buy them. But I never really understood it. But go figure that they're now a collector's item. I don't know. I'm sure at my mom's house in the attic, in a box somewhere, I probably still have my. Yeah, they had those big giant tubes that you would put them in.
Yeah, maybe you could dig them up and get some money.
Yep, maybe. Well, here's something that used to fetch a lot of money. I don't know if the Beanie Babies are still big, but or at least sought after. But I never got into Beanie. I never owned a single Beanie Baby. Did you?
No.
No, I didn't either. At that point, although I'm surprised to see they were released in '93. I don't remember the Beanie Babies coming around until, I don't know, the late '90s, but maybe they were. Yeah, I was more into the. I was an action figure and a video game guy. That's what I wanted: video games and action figures. And what a shock that I'm still. That's exactly what I collect. I still collect. So yeah, didn't really care for the Beanie Babies. Power Rangers, yeah, we just talked about those. Some weird bug flying around. We had some of the Power Rangers toys, and again, they kind of looked like this. They were just all beat up. I remember them being like pretty brittle plastic. And the only one I still have, I do still have the White Ranger that came with the Tiger in package. I still have that in its box, and the box is pretty beat to hell. But yeah, I would like to think that's saying I stayed cool. I stayed true to my roots. Oh, that's right, the Millhouse. Yeah, he did. Remember Pogs? You know what? I played marbles when I was a kid. I never really understood how to play it or what to do, but it was kind of similar in a concept to Pogs. Why eBay was invented, exactly. To prey on people like me who get that rush of nostalgia and have to go find the toys that they used to play with. And I'll pay $200 for this beat up used Green Ranger figure. Yep, there it is. Began with the Japanese TV show Super Sentai. Yeah, we already talked about all this.
Yes, indeed.
The Thunderbirds. The Thunderbirds Tracy Island from Matchbox. I have no clue. I don't remember this at all. I obviously know of the Thunderbirds, so I'm assuming this was based off of that show. But why is this specifically one of the top toys? I have no idea. Do you remember this one, Zod? Do you have any idea what this is all about? I mean, I'm sure you know of the Thunderbirds at least, right? That was the puppets and stuff, but that wasn't from the 90s.
Yeah, no, Thunderbirds was more. I thought Thunderbirds was like 1960s type stuff, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, no, I never had any of that stuff. So,
unless they brought the maybe the Thunderbirds had like a resurgence in the 90s or something. It's got a new Thunderbird toy. I remember that like Team America World Police, that from the South Park creators. That was kind of a spoof off of the Thunderbirds, a little bit. Oh, the PlayStation. Yep. How about man, the PlayStation? Oh, it was released in '94 in Japan. I was like, okay. But in September of '95, did you own an original PlayStation?
I still have mine. It's in my closet. Yeah.
We didn't have the PlayStation. We went the Nintendo 64 route, which
I still have a PlayStation and a Saturn.
Okay.
I don't still have my N64. I did have the N64, but I don't have it anymore.
Do you have the boxes for either of those consoles?
No.
You don't have the boxes for them. Yeah, this is on my list. This is probably would be my next console, because it's the one PlayStation console that I don't have. Yeah, I wouldn't mind starting. I think it's fairly cheap to collect PlayStation. Now some of the games are expensive, but
yeah,
I think it's a fairly cheap console to collect. Okay.
A lot of great Japanese games for the original PlayStation
yeah, there
console.
is. I didn't realize how big it was in Japan. Yeah, I didn't really. Okay, so there's all your Toy Story. Nah, I liked the movie when I was a kid, but I didn't. We never got into collecting. But I do remember the Buzz Lightyear being like a huge sought after Christmas item for the one year, and it was like really impossible to get. But nah, I was too cool for that. These I was not too cool for. The old WWF action figures. We had a bunch of those, especially in the late 90s. Maybe like 96, 97 when wrestling made a huge comeback. Yeah, we had the wrestling ring, we had the figurines. Yeah, I could see that. Prices, yeah, anything you buy in package, of course, it's going to be through the roof. Sorry, did I just kind of breeze right through the Thunderbirds a little bit too quickly? So, did they do a remake of the Thunderbirds in the 90s, MG? I was just curious why that toy from a show that was big, like Zod said. I think it was definitely from the 60s. It must have had a resurgence in the 90s. Oh, I never understood the craze of these stupid things. The Tamagotchis, like your virtual pet. Do you have any of these?
I
never
vaguely remember seeing one. I don't think I personally had one.
I know it was a big thing. I think my brother and my sister both had one, and it was kind of crazy because you could be almost sadistic in a way, because you could like starve your pet or like let it live in its own feces. I'm like, oh my god. Like they took this thing, it made it very realistic. Yeah, and it looked like it was basically just like a Tiger Electronics handheld game. Oh yeah, Hulk Hogan to Rick Rude, the $1 Million Man. Yep. Oh, do you still have them? Oh yeah, they're pretty sought after, the old wrestling figures. So yeah, I think the Tickle Me Elmo that may end up being on this list. Pokemon, Furby, which I'm sure Furby will be here, and the Gigapets. I think that's what this. I think that's basically what this Tamagotchi thing is. I think Gigapet is basically the same exact thing. Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Like if you couldn't keep your little electronic animal alive, you probably shouldn't be having kids. Air Hog toys. I don't know what the hell that even is. Do you?
No.
I must have missed out on that one. Oh, there's the Nintendo 64, of course. The Bop It. This is another one of those stupid little gimmicky games like the Skip It, and it would just. You had 3 different things you could play on it, and it would just get faster. And I don't know. I never had one, and I always thought it was kind of dumb. So I'm sorry for anybody if I'm blowing past your Your
Childhood.
favorite toys growing up. Yeah, there's the Tickle Me Elmo. That was the first toy that I remember seeing people trampling each other on during Black Friday to get. The first time I learned it, wow, there are some crazy people out there. Yeah, that it was. I'm sure there were some crazy sought-after toys for Christmas before that, but this is the first one that like really sticks in my mind. That people were like fighting each other, beating each other up over these things, like grown adults in a tug of war over a Tickle Me Elmo. Oh yeah, there are some fantastic.
Oh yeah, people were knocking people down and taking their Tickle Me Elmos. I mean,
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, it was like, I think that's probably why the movie Turbo Man existed. It was a parody of that, of just the insanity of Black Friday, and yeah, people just getting ran over, like breaking through windows, faces are bloody. It was all for this stupid Elmo doll.
Yeah.
This, oh man, the Teletubbies, I don't know. I might have been too old for that, but I always thought those things were just weird. They were like nightmare fuel. Like this picture alone kind of creeps me out. Yeah, what time did you guys end up staying up, Galaga Guy and Garage Gamer? Those guys had to have been up late. The Game Boy Color, I don't know, I didn't own a Game Boy Color. I think my brother had one.
The first Game Boy that I owned was a Game Boy Advance. Later, when I bought it myself, it was one of the flip, the little flip Game Boy, the Game Boy Advance SP, and it was cold blue, the color, the one that I had. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't own the Game Boy Color. I actually didn't even own a Game Boy either.
No, I didn't either.
One good buddy did. So and my cousins did, and I got.
I had a Game Gear though.
Oh, did
I
you?
had gotten a Game Gear, and the Game Gear was my first Sega console.
Okay. Yeah, my same buddy who had the Game Boy also had the Game Gear. He had rich parents, so he had everything. So I got to borrow it. You're like, oh, let me borrow that. Betty Spaghetti, I don't even know what the heck this even is. That's not a real Game Boy. What, this one here? No, this one here is obviously, that's not a real Game Boy. I don't know what the heck that is. I don't know, but this is a real Game Boy. But the Game Boy was from the 80s. The Game Boy Color, yeah, when they actually... But then again, they released the Game Boy Color and they still didn't give it a backlight. So my brother had some big crazy attachment that you would put on the thing. That had it had a magnifying glass on it, had a backlight. I think it had something you put over the buttons to give the D-pad almost a joystick looking thing. Yeah, it was some crazy. The Game Boy became enormous, and you needed a separate power cable to run it. Yeah, don't know what the heck Betty Spaghetti is. Then there's of course the Furbies. That was another giant craze where people were stomping each other to get. I never owned a Furby, but there was all those weird videos out there of like Furbies coming to life after many years later, or like being able to talk to each other. I don't know. Did you have a Furby?
Yeah, well, that was the first. No, but I think my sister had one, and also, yeah, it was creepy. It was like AI before AI. They could talk to each other. They could communicate.
Freaked out about them. They're like, oh, they're satanic. I remember that being a thing. Like they're possessed by the devil and stuff. I don't think it says. Doesn't say anything about that in here. But I remember that being a thing.
About this devilish BS.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like the Ouija board. You're not getting a Ouija board. It's satanic. But meanwhile, no, it wasn't, and neither was the Furby. Yeah, I mean the original Game Boy, it kind of was. I mean, but being taking that next step over the Tiger handheld games, it was pretty awesome to be able to swap game cartridges out. But yeah, the games kind of played like crap. You needed like perfect lighting to be able to play that Game Boy. And the Game Gear was a huge step forward, but I think it took 6 batteries, and then it said if you played it, you had like a 3-hour. It drained those 6 batteries, and
it drained the batteries quick, and I don't know. The games were. I had a few games. I had a few good games for it. I mean, I had Fatal Fury Special for it, which I really liked. I had Mortal Kombat for it, but Mortal Kombat was ridiculous because it was, it was missing characters, and it was very limited.
Oh yeah.
I had, what else did I have for Game Gear? I had Star Wars for Game Gear, and I also had, I think I had Shining Force 2, one of the RPGs, which was kind of neat. But I didn't have a whole lot of games for Game Gear, but I enjoyed it, for what it was.
Oh yeah, at the time it was like I said. I mean, what did you have to compare it against? The Game Boy, and you had the Tiger handheld game. So it was like that was in a league of its own. And MG, I think I've heard this story from you before. You traded your Game Gear with Castle of Illusion for a Game Boy. Man, somebody ripped you off on that one. Oh yeah, it had the TV tuner. There was a lot of cool features and stuff that you could, or attachments you could buy for those. No, I played the Game Gear a lot, but I hadn't played it for many, many years until I finally bought my own again in box, and I started collecting for it. And I remember putting the games in, and I mean, this was, probably like 7, 8 years ago, and going, wow, man, this looks a lot worse than I remember it looking. But back in 1993 or whenever the heck the Game Gear came out, it was kind of cool, mind blowing in a way, and yeah, it doesn't really hold up too well. But that is something I may actually I want to get the TV tuner for it, but it's a damn thing. Like, these things are so expensive anymore. Trying to buy them, then you're going right to eBay again and paying $200 for this thing, and it probably can't even get a TV. I don't know. Does TV still work like that anymore? If you had rabbit ears on a TV, could you still even get a signal?
Well, you'd have to buy a digital antenna.
Yeah, I guess you would. Yeah. So the old rabbit ears thing
wouldn't work. You'd have to buy a digital antenna.
All right, Zod. Well, that's all I got for this week. I don't know. I got a busy afternoon happening here soon. I got to go upstairs. I got to get something to eat because I'm going to the movie theaters to see Ninja Turtles in less than 2 hours. So I am very, very excited for that. So you got what do you got going on? You're just going to be busy with.
I'm editing. I'm still editing One Punch Man. I'm fully committed to that. I'm getting some more scenes cut together. Basically what I'll do is I'll make a cut every single day, and then I'll go back and I'll watch that cut, and then I'll add more to it, and I just keep adding on to it layer by layer until the movie's done. So.
Yep. So I tell you, it's just tireless, endless effort. But you know what? I'm feeling it's all gonna pay off in the end. It'll all be.
I definitely think so. I think it's gonna be worth it. Yeah, for sure.
You used to be able to play your Mega Drive on the Game Gear via the tuner. Oh yeah. How is the? I was thinking about that the other day. Have you had any time to even focus on the game at all?
I've had to set Samira's Wonderland aside because I'm trying to finish One Punch Man. So once I finish One Punch Man, I'll be fully immersed in finishing Samira's Wonderland.
One thing at a time, right?
Yeah. It's too much to try and juggle all these different things,
Yeah, we could probably do something like that.
Yeah, sure.
Next time around. And it should be in 2 weeks, you know, if all things go, I say it every week, if everything goes according to plan, we should be back here in 2 weeks, maybe.
Well, at least you and I'll be here.
Yeah,
We know that.
You know, PD7's out there struggling with his lawnmower as we speak, and, you know, Phil, I hope you can get that thing fixed. I know it's been giving you some trouble there. Is Zod charging for his movie? I mean...
No, the movie is. I'm releasing the movie for free. The only thing that I'm going to be charging for is if you want a physical copy with the with the steel book. That'll be. I'll be putting that up for pre-order. But the movie will be available for free. I want everybody to see. I want as many people to see it as possible. So it'll be out there for everybody.
So you are going to have a copy available to.
Purchase for physical copy.
Oh,
yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. Well, I appreciate everybody for stopping in today and hanging out with us. And you said if all goes according to plan, we will be back here in 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
So again, I appreciate everybody for stopping by, and we will see you guys next time. Have a good weekend.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.